The amplifier is the final stage of the signal path. It needs to power the loudspeakers. It needs to have plenty of available power to respond to the needs and the dynamics of the material.
The output stage was designed specifically to tolerate a wide range of loudspeaker impedance variations.
The number 5302 achieves this with a bridgeable Class AB design.
The amplifier industrial design for me is a great distillation of where Mark Levinson has been and kind of where we're going. The handles are a beautiful new design that we've implemented for this series of product.
They're each machined out of solid aluminum and blasted to match the knobs on the preamplifier.
What I really like about the number 5302 is its flexibility. Sonically superb. The bass you get out of that amplifier and the width of image is truly amazing.
The number 5302 was designed specifically for bridged mono operation in addition. When we select that mode of operation, we use a different set of windings on the transformer, which are optimized for mono. And under those conditions, the number 5302 will deliver 275 watts into 8 ohms or 550 watts mono into 4 ohms. By making the number 5302 bridgeable, we're also offering great flexibility. A customer could buy a 5302, use it as a stereo amp, and later purchase a second unit and run both of them in bridged mono.
You could even use it with an integrated amplifier like the 5805 and use it as a biamp situation where it's driving the low end, your 5805, and a biamp is driving the top end. There's a lot of ways you can use the number 5302.
The number 5302 amplifier is, of course, based extensively on the platform development we did for the number 5805 integrated amp. However, the number 5302 allows us to use a much bigger power supply. It's important to think of the power supply in an amplifier as being what provides the power to the speakers themselves, with the amplifier circuit sort of functioning as a faucet, controlling that power.
Most other amplifiers only have a power button. The number 5302 has IP, RS-232, and a 12-volt trigger to turn it on and off. We also have an internal system web page that an advanced user can use to see the status operation of the unit. Number 5302 and all of our amplifiers have a processor in it that does sensing of all the communications, but there's also a lot of work done by the processor to take care of safety features in the unit, make sure it doesn't get too hot, there's not too much current being pulled out of it.
So in a power amplifier, especially one with a lot of Class A bias, like the number 5302, we need some good heat sinks. As you'll notice, the heat sinks are external, they're robust, they're nice to look at, they're beautifully finished.
The external heat sinks look great and perform great, and they give the amplifier a powerful appearance that is form-following function.
With cosmetic-grade heat sinks, a glass display, and solid aluminum handles, the number 5302 blends harmoniously with the rest of the 5000 series, at the crossroads of where science meets art. Preamp is at the heart of any audio system, receiving digital and analog signals and routing them through the appropriate signal path. The Mark Levinson engineering team goes through extensive lengths to make sure that the signal is not only preserved, but the conditions are in place to unlock the full potential of the recording.
The number 5206, of course, is based heavily on the platform we developed for the number 5805 integrated. It makes use of the work we did on the design of the line stage and the digital to analog converter. Those two building blocks in particular have 2 patents on circuit designs that are utilized in them. What we did was to repurpose those building blocks, but by putting them into the number 5206, having a separate component, we were able to do some additional work, hot rodding, so to speak, the power supply in the unit, adding another stage of regulation, and adding some very extensive shielding inside the unit. That allows us to minimize noise and maximize the sonic performance of all of those building blocks inside. Inside the number 5206 is a dedicated transformer. All it has to do is to power the analog circuitry in the preamp. That particular transformer is completely encapsulated. It's surrounded on all sides by 3 layers of silicon steel shielding. It is both mechanically and electrically very quiet, and it's able to produce a lot of power because the number 5206 runs in full Class A. In the number 5206, we're using an additional stage of linear regulation for all of the audio circuitry. So our nice big encapsulated toroidal transformer powers its very own set of voltage regulators, which in turn feed all of the regulators on the analog stages. That gives a much quieter, more stable DC voltage for the critical analog circuits. In addition, there's a switching power supply that runs all of the digital circuitry. That provides us with much better efficiency and much lower power consumption when the unit's in standby. It's really a combination of the best of both worlds.
We wanted the number 5206 preamplifier to be lower profile than the 5805, despite having the same front panel, knobs, and button array. The interior structural parts present a clean interior, but their primary function is to provide shielding between the power supplies, digital circuits from the analog circuits. There's aluminum, steel, and silicon steel shields, all located in size for optimal performance.
The number 5206 offers many digital input choices. There's an AES input, which is a balanced connection, considered very reliable, robust. There are 2 coaxial inputs, 2 optical inputs, as well as an asynchronous USB input. That asynchronous USB input can handle all kinds of high-res formats. In addition, there's also a Bluetooth input capable of aptX HD. Now, some people would argue that Bluetooth is not a great high-resolution medium. Why would you include it? The fact is, Bluetooth is a great way for people to share their music, so why not include it but make it sound the best that we can?
The number 5206 has even more system control and integration flexibility with IP, RS-232, and rear IR. You could also import and export configuration data from the internal web page directly.
We designed the number 5206 to be very flexible. It offers a home theater pass-through feature, which allows it to be integrated into a home theater system. We've also included a discrete high-pass filter, which allows the preamp to be integrated as part of a 2.1 system. The number 5206 has input relays for all of its signal sources. These connect only the signal source that you're listening to, and they physically disconnect all the other signal sources. That prevents crosstalk, interaction between the sources, and helps break up ground loops.
One of the best things about the number 5206 is that as soon as I plug my headphones into the front jack of the preamplifier, that preamplifier turns into a headphone amplifier. There's no reason to have a separate headphone amplifier in the unit because all your investment in that preamplifier circuitry is used to bring the ultimate detail to when you're listening to headphones.
With 2 patents awarded, a pure path Class A line stage, the Precision Link 2 DAC, the number 5206 is packed full of features and performance. In the last few years, internet streaming has been the predominant way that people consume music and other audio content, whether it's podcasts or internet radio or high-resolution music streaming services. Some people store their entire music library on a network-connected drive, a USB drive, or they have other digital playback devices.
Digital is the most convenient way to distribute music.
Still, others have large collections of CDs and physical media like SACDs that they've invested in over the years and cherish. The Mark Levinson number 5101 is a premium solution for all of these scenarios. It's a high-resolution network streamer, SACD player, and a standalone DAC. It's designed to deliver the best possible quality, unlocking the full potential of the recording.
Digital recording technology over the last several decades has really evolved and improved. The extra bandwidth, the extra dynamic range allows an end user to really hear what was in the studio or what was in the concert hall, and especially with a component like the number 5101, which is capable of reproducing all these native formats.
The number 5101 has a lot of ways to get music into it. There's streaming, there's digital inputs, and you could even get data off a NAS drive or a flash drive.
The digital engine in the number 5101 feeds the Precision Link 2 DAC that we developed for the 5000 series. The Precision Link 2 DAC is able to take in both PCM and DSD signals natively, so it can convert them exactly as they were intended to be converted. PCM looks at the absolute value of the signal at every sample. SACD and DSD look at the differences between samples instead, so fewer bits, but happening much more frequently. A lot of listeners feel that this has a more analog-like sound. We not only put a lot of attention into the electronic design and performance of the unit, but as you can see, we paid great attention to the physical details.
Number 5101 doesn't have any front panel knobs, so we wanted to lower the height and make a sleeker looking product. It was a challenge, but behind the stacked glass, we fit the red display, a row of machined aluminum buttons, and an SACD drive. To accommodate the SACD player, we chose a slot loading drive so that we could just do a simple slot in the glass and keep the display nice and clean and uncluttered.
The number 5101 also offers the end user a choice of different digital filters for both DSD and for PCM playback. There isn't any one correct choice. However, each one of these filters can offer a very subtle difference in the sonic presentation, and an end user might prefer different filters for different types of music.
The Music Life streaming app allows you to choose one of the popular streaming systems to play on the number 5101. We chose the app as the primary user interface because it's quick to make changes if the streaming service changes their format or a new streaming service comes available.
The sophisticated engineering involved to create such a versatile, high-performance product was recognized by our peers with the CES Innovation Award, and the luxurious industrial design was recognized by the internationally acclaimed IF Design Award. The number 5101 packs innovative technology into a luxurious industrial design. With true Mark Levinson playback quality of almost any digital source, the convenience of app control, and award-winning design, the number 5101 is an essential part of a complete 5000 series system. In the last decade or so, there's been a resurgence of vinyl as a listening choice.
A lot of listeners really prefer the vinyl format.
The difference is that you're part of the performance. There's some magic to that.
It's something that they can hold. There's great album artwork. It can be shared with friends.
There's a visceral connection between the listener, the album, the artist, and the turntable.
The number 5105 brings turntables back into the world of Mark Levinson in a very big way.
The look, the feel, the touch, the design is absolutely beautiful. It matches our 5000 series.
Like the rest of the 5000 series, we use the same 1-inch thick bead-blasted aluminum side panels, the same glass display with metal buttons and a bead-blast clear anodized frame. It also has a solid machined aluminum plinth, which we grain finished and black anodized for a really luxurious feel. So the plinth of the 5105 starts as a large rectangular block of aluminum and gets cut out so every circuit board and every piece has its own pocket. It's not assembled out of pieces, it is one piece. Number 5105 doesn't need knobs, so instead we took their hourglass profile and applied them to the record weight and the tone arm gimbal.
The tone arm in the number 5105 uses a dual-axis gimbal bearing. That allows the tone arm to move up and down, left and right, but doesn't allow it to twist in any way whatsoever. That's important because it's critical that the cartridge maintains the same relationship to the LP as it travels all the way across the record. When we were selecting a cartridge to go with the number 5105 MC, we did extensive listening tests. What was important was that the cartridge offered a Mark Levinson style presentation. Good soundstage, accurate, dynamic, but also, because a turntable is an all-mechanical system, the cartridge had to work well with the tone arm and well with the rest of the turntable. What we finally decided upon was the Ortofon Quintet Black. In the case of the number 5105, we use carbon fiber in the arm tube because it's extremely lightweight but also extremely rigid.
Happily, I saved all my albums over the years. So I do have an UHQR pressing of Sgt. Pepper's, and the detail that you hear in that album, you hear things in the music that you've never heard before. It is an emotional experience.
The sound of it is absolutely amazing. Having collected vinyl for 40 years, having just under 3,000 albums, listening to the vinyl, it's amazing. Everybody will love this turntable.
The number 5105 is that connection between the function and the beauty where science meets art.
When we started designing the 519, we knew that
Hacemos una pausa en nuestro video para recordarles no olvidarse de suscribirse a nuestro canal y hacer clic a la campanita para recibir la notificación de que hay un nuevo video.